Hello, good morning. How are you today? I hope you are feel better. Anyway, this is Teacher Marvin, your English teacher. All right. So this morning, today is Friday. It's what time? What date today? It's July 23, 2021. All right. So this morning is Science Day. Our subject for today is Science Day, and then this will be your last study in this week. I know you are feel tired, but it's okay. It's normal. Okay. So what we are going to do this morning is we will going to have only a review because by the next week, by the 2nd of August until 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until a 6th of August, you will going to have um, what they will call that. It's midterm exam. So today we will going to have only a review in science. So we will go back first to the first week until the other meeting until to our last meeting. We will going to have only a review in science. And then for you to be able to understand and still remember what are those things, topics that you've learned in science. Okay? So are you ready? All right. So I am preparing here a slides for you, and then anyway, this morning we will going to have a long discussion, but it is only a review because this is already done when you start to learn here in through online. Okay, so we were going to only have a review. So I hope you can go with me, you can join with me, and then just enjoy. All right. So wait for a while. So while I am waiting for our slides, I want everybody to please just focus because it's very long discussion here this morning. As what I have said earlier, we will going to have a review from the first meeting until the last meeting. All right. So I want you to review all of these topics that we have. That's right. So, okay. So we have here. Okay. So, okay, wait for a while. My camera was lost. I don't know where is it. Okay, there you go. All right. So now let's start our lesson um this morning. This is not about okay. All right, sorry for some inconvenience. All right, so welcome to Primary 1, the English program, and our subject this morning is science. I haven't seen my camera. Where is it? Okay, there you go. All right, all right, I'm here. So again, welcome to English program, the primary one, and our subject this morning is science. So what we're going to do this morning, as what I've said earlier, is that we will going to have a review. And then we will start the review. Let's recall from the first meeting until to the last meeting for science. Okay, the last meet during the first meeting, you were able to know what is sink and what is float, right? So what are those example of sink? What are those things that capable to sink, and then what are those things capable to float? So I'll show you the example of the floating objects. Okay, so these are an examples of the floating objects such as the balloon, the styrofoam, the disposable plastics of spoons and fork, or even the rubber. So these are all examples of the floating object. Okay, so therefore, when we say floating object, those objects that made of plastic, cellophanes, rubber, these are the things that able to float. Okay, so how about the sinking object? These are the objects not capable to float, but majority they will be able to sink. And what are those? So these are an examples of the sinking objects, such as the watch, the metal watch, the jewelries, the metal clips, or even the spoon and forks, which is made of metal. So therefore, when the objects are made of metal, this will be sinking object. Okay, so that's right. And then we have also what we call the characteristics of the snails. During that time, you were able to know what are those characteristics of the snails and how does it work, and is it useful for our environment? Yes, it is. So when we say characteristics of snails, snails can live in the fresh water or salt water too. Meaning to say, when there are snails can live at the salt water, and there are some snails also able to live at the fresh water. So another characteristics of the snails is that snails can live in the fresh water or salt water too, and then the snails also can eat leaves and fruits. Yes, the snails can eat the fruits and leaves. Okay, these are one of the characteristics of the snails. All right. So another one, what are those characteristics of the snails? Is that snails can see but cannot hear. Meaning to say, snails able to see but cannot hear because snails don't have ear. All right. So that is one of the characteristics of the snails. Okay, another characteristics of the snails is that here we, all right, so that is the eyes of the snails. Okay, so another characteristics of the snails is that snails have two long tentacles and two short tentacles. Okay, when we say tentacles, these are the part of the body of the snails, and where to find the long tentacles and where to find the short tentacles of the snails. So this one is the long tentacles, and this one is what we call the short tentacles. And then the eyes of the snails can see at the long tentacle of the snails. And then another characteristics of the snail is that snail can produce slime. Again, snail can produce slime. So that is one of the characteristics of the snail. You know what? Here in Thailand, there are a lot of companies able to have a beauty products which is with the content of the slime of the snail. All right. So we have snail has a muscular foot. Again, the snail has a muscular foot. So this is the muscular foot of the snail. That's right. Okay, there you go. And now you are able to learn about the five senses of our self. And what are those five senses? Okay, so we have nose, and then the nose used to smell. Nose used to smell, that is one of the five senses of our self. And then we have also the eyes, and we use the eyes for sight. So we used to sight or see using our eyes. So that is one of the senses of our body. And we have also the tongue, and we use the tongue for taste. We use our tongue to taste what we like to eat. And then, of course, we have also the hearing. We use our ear for hearing. So that is one also of our senses in our body. All right? So, and the last one we have what we call our hand used to touch. All right, so that is another senses in our body. And then to recap, we have here eyes used for sight, and then smell used, nose used to smell, and then our ears used for hearing, and then our tongue used to taste, and then our skin or hand used to touch anything. So these are the five senses that we have: the smell, the eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and skin. Eyes used for sight, nose used to smell, and then ears used to hear, and tongue used to taste, and then hand or touch, skin or hand used to touch anything. So these are the five senses. Okay, let us proceed also to our prediction and what we call observation. In these photos, you were able to observe during our five senses. Okay? And then you are able to identify during using your observation skills at your eyes. You are able to see the box. Using your hand, you are able to touch the plastic. Using your mouth as to taste, you are able to taste the bread. And then using your nose, you are able to smell our food, the foods. And then at the hearing, ears used for hearing, you cannot hear the foods because they are not talking. But if you are going to scrap or scramble the boxes, the cellophane, that's the time that you can use to hear using your ears, because cellophane, the objects also capable to produce sounds. So these are the one. Okay, let us proceed also to our prediction. In our prediction, you were able to predict the different things such as like this. And then given an example that your mother able to taste give you just a small amount of honey, and then what you predict is that it is sweet. So that is already a prediction. And in this picture, you can predict what the object inside the box says. Okay? And then say, for example, in these photos, you were able to say about the situation of the sky since it is dark. So you predict that in the future, it will have a rain. So that is already a prediction. And then another one is that you are trying to wash your clothes, and then hanging on the clothesline under the sun, and then in the after the hours, just a couple of hours or more than a couple of hours, you predict that your clothes is already dry. So that is already a prediction. Okay, because because there is a sun, and then you are trying to hang all your clothes after you wash your clothes, and then hanging in the clothesline, and then after an hours it's dry. Now you predict that your clothes will dry because of the sun. Okay, another one example is that we have here the sun and the eyes. And then what will happen to the eyes staying under the sun is that you're able to predict that the ice, it will become water, it will melt. Yes, so that is already a prediction. Okay, so another one. So we have here, there is a cat, and then the cat see the foods, which is the fish and the bread. And then you also predict that the cat will catch the fish, not the bread, because cat likes to eat fish. Now, in the conclusion, you're able to predict that the cat will get the fish. So that is already a prediction. All right? So next, we have also another one. And then we also study about the parts of the body. So what are those parts of our body? So can you remember what are the parts of our body? Yes, we have here the head, the arm, we have also the hand, we have also the foot, we have the nose, the neck, the finger, we have the leg, and also we have the toe. And then you're able to identify which is the head, and this is the head of our body, and this is our arm, and this is our hand, and this is our foot, and this is our neck, this is our fingers, and our leg, and this is our toe. So that is the parts of our body. Okay, so after that, you're able to learn about the parts of the body of our head. Okay, so in our head, we have here what we call the ears. Okay, the ear. And then after that, you also know what is, we call this. And this is what we call mouth. Okay, and then this one, you're able to identify what parts of our head is this. This is an eyes. Okay, your eyes, our eyes. Okay, and then we have here what we call the tongue. Okay, and then the last one is we have also what we call the teeth. So these are what we call the parts of our head. Okay, so these are the parts of our head, and then this one, the nose. All right. Okay, and then, okay, how about this one? All right, it's a hair. And then after that, you also learned about the different habitats of the animals. Okay, so we have here the farm. We have also another one here, this one, and then you're able to know how to identify the different habitats of the animals. All right, so these are the examples of the animals who are able to live in the different habitats. And what are those things? So in the habitats of farms, most of the animals able to live in the farm who are the horse, we have also the goat, we have also the sheep, and also we have what we call the cow. So these are the examples of the animals who live in the farm. Farm is one of the habitat of the animals. And then we also know how to, what are the examples of the animals who live in the desert. So what are those animals live in the desert? So these are the desert, and then camel is one of the best example who live in the desert, because only the camel able to survive can live longer in the desert without water. Okay, so camel is one of the example who can live in the desert. Okay, so another habitat that we have here, so camel is the example who live in the desert. Okay, another habitat that we have here is that what we call the forest. And what are those animals who live in the forest? Okay, let's do have an example. Animals who live in the forest, such as the tiger. Tiger live in the forest, or even the monkeys. They able to live in the forest because a lot of trees, and also the snake able to live in the forest. So these are only an example of the animals who can live in the forest. All right. So again, these are the examples of the animals who can live in the forest. All right. So another one. So what are those examples to live in the forest? Such as the tiger. We have also the monkey, and then we have also the snake. So these are an examples of the animals who live in the forest. And then forest is one of the habitat of the animals. All right. Next, so we have another habitat. So what is our next habitat? Is what we call the pond. So what are those animals live in the pond? So we have here, this is an example of the pond. All right. When we say pond, it is a fresh water. Okay, it is a fresh water. So we have also the snails. Snails able to live in the fresh water, or snails able to live in the pond. Okay, and then there is also the tortoise. The tortoise can live also in the pond, or the fresh water, or even the tadpoles, or such as a crab. They able to live in the pond. Remember that the tadpoles or frogs cannot survive to stay longer in the salt water. Pond is a fresh water. Or even the fish, there are some fish also live in the pond. Okay, so these are the examples, only the examples of the animals who live in the habitat which is pond. Okay, to make it short, the least examples of the animals who live in the pond are the following. We have the snail, we have the tortoise, and we have also the tadpoles or frogs, and we have also the fish. So these are only an examples of the animals who live in the pond. And then the last habitat we have here is that what we call the sea. All right. At the sea, there's a lot of sea creatures live in the sea. And what are those examples to live in the sea? We have here what we call the whale. Yes. And then we have also the octopus, or even what we call the seahorse, or what we call the starfish. So these are an examples of the animals who live in the habitat which is what we call sea. And to make it short, the list of the examples of the animals live in the sea are the following. We have the whale, we have also the octopus, and we have also what we call the seahorse, and of course, the starfish. So these are only the examples of the animals who live in the sea. Sea is one of the habitat of the animals. And then after that, we also learn about the different parts of the body, the different parts of the body of the animal, such as tails, and then we able to identify the tails of the animals, and then we have also identified the legs of the animals, and then legs is one of the most essential part of the body of the animals because legs used for moving. Okay, and then we also identify what is beak, and where can we find the beak of the animals. It can found in the birds, okay, or the chickens. So this is what we call beak. And then we also identify about the wings. When we say wings, it used to fly. And what are those animals who can fly? These are the birds, the chicken, or any varieties of the chicken. All animals with wings can fly. Okay, so these are the examples. Okay, how about the fins? Where can we found the fins? Of course, we can found it to the animals, which is the fish. Fins used for swimming. Because of the fins, the fish able to balance its body. All right. So after that, we also discover or learn about what we call the animals with tails. So these are the animals with tails, such as the tiger or even the dolphins or even the crocodiles. These are an examples of animals with tails. All right. So another one is animals without tails, meaning to say animals without tails, no tails. And what are those examples? So we have here the frog. Frog don't have tails. Or even the crabs don't have tails. Or even the starfish don't have tails. So these are only an examples of the animals without tails. Okay, let us proceed to animals with legs. We have a lot of animals with legs because we all know that legs is one of the essential body part of the animals because the purpose of the legs is they will be able to move their body. Okay, what are those examples of animals with legs? Such as the rooster. Because of the legs, rooster able to run or walk. And even the shrimps, so they have also a legs, or even the dogs, they can run or walk. Okay, so how about animals without legs? Animals without legs, can you remember what are those animals without legs? Okay, so let me show you the examples of animals without legs, such as snake don't have legs, or even the snail or even the fish don't have legs, but they can move their body because of the other parts of their body. Okay? So animals with beaks, animals with beaks. What are those? Of course, such as the birds, the chicken. Okay? These are examples of animals with beaks. All right? So we have also here what we call animals with wings. So animals with wings, what are those examples? Such as the birds, or even the butterfly, or even some insects. All living creatures that you see can fly, meaning to say they have their wings. Okay, because wings is used for flying. Okay. Now this one, these are examples of animals with fins. These are the examples of animals with fins, such as the bird. And this is what we call the fins. Okay. Now, after that, we also identify the different movements of the animals. And what are those movements of the animals? We have here climb. Some animals can climb from tree to tree with their arms and legs. Okay, so what are those examples of animals can climb? We have this one, the squirrel, and then we have also the cheetah and also the monkey. These are the examples of animals who can move and climb because of their legs. And then after that, we identify also another movement of the animals, such as walk. Some animals cannot walk, but some animals can walk because of their legs. And what are those examples of animals who can walk? All right. Meaning to say, if the animals can walk, meaning to say they have their legs. And what are those examples? We have the elephant, we have also what we call the zebra, and also what we call the giraffe. So these are only the examples of the animals who can walk because they have legs. Okay, and also run. Meaning to say, the animals can run because of their legs. Some animals cannot run because they don't have legs, but most of the animals can run because they have legs. And what are those examples? So the examples for animals who can run are the following, such as the ostrich. Ostrich is one of the fastest animals who can run. One of the fastest bird who can run, such as ostrich. Okay, we have also what we call the deer and then also the cheetah. And take note, cheetah is one of the fastest animals in the world who can run. All right? So we have also the dogs. They can run because of their legs. That's right. And then we have also jump. Jump is one of the body movement of animals. Why they can jump? They can jump on land with their legs. Yes, it is. They can jump because of their legs. And they can also swim in water with their legs. And what are those examples? So we have here, so there are some animals who cannot jump, but most of the animals can jump. And what are those examples? It's the kangaroo. The kangaroo able to jump because of its what we call legs. And also the frogs can able to jump because of their legs. Or even the grasshopper, some insects can jump because of its legs. All right, so also crawl. And what are those animals can crawl? There are some small animals, tiny animals, able to crawl, although they have legs, but they just only crawl, cannot run fast. And what are those examples of animals able to crawl? So we have here, such as the tortoise, okay, or even the snail, they just only crawl, okay? So, or even the lizard, some reptiles, most of the reptiles just only crawl. But of course, they can run, but they cannot jump too much because of their legs, okay? So we have also fly. So what are those animals able to fly? Remember, the animals able to fly because of their wings. And what are those examples of animals able to fly? Again, animals able to fly because of their wings. And we have here what we call the duck or even the pigeon. So because they have their wings, they can fly. And animals who can swim. All right. So what are those animals who can swim? As I've said earlier, swim is one of the body movement of the animals. Okay, and what are those? So we have the dolphins able to swim because of their fins and then their tails. Or even the turtle able to swim because of their legs. Okay, all right. So that's all. So we just only review here. So I hope you've learned a lot because by the next meeting, next week to 1 week from now, you will going to have midterm exam. So please study your lesson, especially in English, mathematics, all of your subject. Please study your lesson. Okay? So I hope you can get a very good score, excellent score during your midterm exam. Again, this is Teacher Marvin, your English teacher. Thank you so much and sawadee kap and bye-bye.